Hey everybody, this is super exciting. We are talking branding today. I am Laura Hulleman. I am with the Endotype formula, and I'm talking to the brand genius, Masha.
Hey everyone! It's Masha here with the U brand and with MDP Studio. Super excited to have you with us. My bird downstairs apparently is also very excited. We have a pretty big announcement and the grand reveal for Laura.
Yes. And that's what this is all about, is the grand reveal of my brand board. Masha has done some branding work for me, and I was like, we got to talk about this on camera and show it on camera because it's such a unique process that you take people through. Branding to me is a super buzzy word. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the concept of it. And that's because, and I know why it is, like what I do with the Endotype formula is help people understand their zone of genius, understand what they're really, really great at. And then from there, it's really clear what they're really not great at. And I am not great at branding and visuals. And that's been true for a really, really long time. I guess I'm what people would call a serial entrepreneur. I've had many and multiple businesses. And branding has always been something that I've struggled with, for sure. When I had a women's fitness training studio way back in the day, and it was great. Like, there wasn't anything like it in the town that I was in. It was powerful. And once we got people in the door and like to do one workout with us, they were like sold and were there forever. The challenge was getting them in the door and to do that workout. And I had a coach come through and she's like, okay, you're great. This whole concept's great. This whole place is weird. And I was like, rude. Like, weird. What do you mean? And she's like, oh, let's just start at the beginning. And we went outside and we looked at the sign, and we came inside and we looked at the walls, and we, and it was the visuals all the way down to the marketing pieces that I was using that was confusing people. And once I made that switch to create more of a cohesive look from outside, from the marketing piece to inside. One of the things she had told me at that point was, from the very first time that they know you to the time that they set foot in your gym, they should go, oh, this is exactly what I expected it to be. Great. Like, now I understand the concept, but it is still just a concept because I don't understand that way. So that's my struggle with branding.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a lot of my clients find that for them, it's the same thing. So if they're doing it, it feels like a lot of guesswork. It feels like a lot of DIY. Well, I can do this myself. And what has been your experience? Like, what are the things that you've tried in the past?
Oh yeah, there's been a whole lot of DIY and just making it up as you go along. It's like, like, I know how to make a website. I've built multiple websites. I know how to, and you go into the like color palette place of the website and you go, well, those are pretty. And then it populates into your website. And I've taken the branding quizzes. I've worked with other branding consultants in the past. And what it feels like is a whole lot of guessing. It feels like you're asking me questions for which I don't have, I don't know. That's why I'm asking for help with branding. Like, don't ask me questions that I obviously don't know the answer to. It makes me feel stupid. Or they're just so generic that by the time I get done, it just doesn't feel right. And although I can't put it all together, one thing that I do know is I know when I see it. It's like, and I've had this experience over and over again in my businesses. When I see it, it's like, oh, heck yes, it is that. But to get to the process of I don't see it to I see it, I understand that there has to be some kind of process in between. And it is not a process that I can DIY or do myself.
Yeah. And that cohesiveness, kind of what you mentioned to before, that is so important because it can't just be on the whim. It can't just be like, oh, today I like this, tomorrow I like that. Nor can it be solely based on color theory, because color theory is great and it still needs to plug into who you are and what you're trying to create. So in that case, for you, what was the importance of this investment? And what are your plans to do with this board that we have created? Because it is different from what normally, you know, like the branding book, we've created a branding board. So
Right.
what is the importance for you there?
Right. Well, and a branding, I've heard this branding book idea before. I will tell you, if I had a branding book, it would sit on the bookshelf with the rest of my books. Like, great. Now I have a book that has colors in it, I guess. I don't know. Like, it was like the whole theory of a branding book has never been something that I pulled a trigger on because that doesn't make sense. What makes sense is a branding board for me, because in my life, who I am as a person, vision boards, dream boards, goal boards, whatever it is that you want to call them, those work great for me. Because when I can put up in my peripheries the vision, I told you, I know when it's it. So if it's there all the time, I then am making choices over here unconsciously that match that. So I get what I want if it's there in my periphery. So that's why the brand board was a huge draw for me. But as far as the investment goes of why to invest in a brand cohesion for me, what I am doing is a big idea. Like, this whole Endotype formula, it's a big thing. And what I know based on my endotype, based on who I am, and who I think a lot of your clients are too, is the powerfulness of my message, the force behind and the energy behind what this big idea is and this big goal dream that I'm chasing here and stepping into can only grow in proportion to the vision that I can hold for it. So if I hold a vision of, this is a workshop, I can get that workshop. I can fill that space. But if I don't have that vision, then it's just going to stay here. When it comes to making this into an actual brand of a company, a force to be reckoned with, I can't do that if I don't have a picture, if I don't have a visual, if I don't, like, if this is the vision, this is as big as it's going to get. So investing in it was a no-brainer. I know that I can only grow to a certain level unless I have the visuals in place, both from a consumer point of view, but from a personal point of view. Like, this is as much a process of growth for me as it is an attraction for my customers.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautifully said. And in the process that we've done, what have you discovered are the power words behind your brand before, like, right, as we were leading up to the reveal of your board, what are the words that really showed up in the discovery process?
Yeah. Empowerment, which I was very clear on. Knowing, I was pretty clear on. But the kind of surprises that showed up for me were permission, understanding, and inspiration. So those are kind of the brand values, the brand words that that became part of the process here.
Yeah, and with that,
and I didn't have to guess them. And we'll talk about like how we got there, but I didn't have to guess any of that.
Yes, and that's my goal, because yes, and we'll talk more about that, but first, dun, 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 here's Laura's branding board.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. So there are the words, but why don't you tell me what you see and what you feel looking at this?
Yeah. So this is, I've looked at pieces of this along the way already. So it's not like, I want people to know that it's not like Masha does all the work and then I just have to accept whatever she comes up with. So you and I have worked back and forth on different elements of this, and where I go, you know, like the fonts or like different pieces, but it's always very intuitive. It's very like, oh, this is the one I'm drawn to. And Masha was like, good, that's the one I wanted to use anyways. It has those feelings. First of all, I think it represents me. Like, it has playfulness and humor and weirdness in it, which I am. And it brings in the colors. So my logo, the Endotype formula logo up there, I already had. And so it brings in those colors in utilizing certain ones. And at one point you had come to me and you said, oh, I'm so excited. And I'm probably going to murder the explanation, but I'm so excited. The yellow and the orange that you're already using so works with the blue and the violet that's already in your logo. And I was like, I don't use yellow and orange in my logo. Like, yellow and orange. And it was really puzzling. You had left me a message about it, and I was really confused for a little while until I remembered this is why I need a brand expert. So this is one of the main pieces of work that I do. It is the Endotype chart. Now, I had picked yellow and orange. I had these charts already made up, and Masha knew I had these charts. She's seen this charting thing that I do. But it never occurred to me to use the yellow and the orange from the charts. So that, just bringing those things in. And then the pictures that Masha found, again, I didn't have to guess. I didn't have to go through a billion pictures on Pinterest or break my brain. I didn't have to break my brain doing something my brain can't do. Masha did the work. And we went back and forth on a couple of pictures, but you'd send me over a few and I'd go, I love it, not sure that one's it. And at one point there was a picture, like I could feel it missing, and I didn't know what the picture was, but we had a conversation and I was like, okay, it kind of feels like love, and it kind of feels like love this way, and it kind of, you know, like, and you were able to find the picture that matched it. So that's tremendous for me, because never in a million years could I have done that process.
Yeah, I'll stop the share here so we can go back to our lovely faces. As we look at the board, really quick, the marvelous thing and kind of what Laura touched up on as far as the colors, there are pieces that we use in our brands that we aren't sometimes even aware of, like in this situation,
Right.
But again, building up the consistency. And in this case, those colors were so perfect because we were able to create a very harmonious color scheme from what was already there, and just place it together in a way that makes sense. And that way now it's duplicatable. Now we can pass it out to designers or to web developers, marketers, whoever it is that's working on the brand. Now they know how the brand and the business needs to show up.
Right.
So it's consistent. So that's perfect. So then, can you talk a little bit about our process? Because I know that was very, very different for you.
This is, before we got on here, I was like, Masha, we got to talk about how, like, your customers have to know about this process. Because here's what I will tell you. I am talking to you, a customer who is thinking about working with Masha. It doesn't break your brain. Like, you're not being asked to guess. It doesn't feel like a test, pass, fail. It doesn't feel like you're going to do it wrong and you're going to have to do it again in 6 months, which, like, that's always been my experience in the past. And it's weird. It's weird. So she has a worksheet that you fill out that was very intuitive. I knew the answers to those questions. It worked me through that. That was not the weird part. At one point, then she gave me different assignments over the course of this. One of them was this picture that is always behind me when I do my Zoom calls. She's like, that picture. She's like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take like 10, maybe 15 pictures of different points of interest. And I was like, points of interest? What does that mean? Because again, I don't know what that is. She's like, no, there's different angles, different sections of the photo. Okay. I completed my assignment, and it was very helpful to you. I still to this day, like, don't understand it all. Like, you've explained it, but I still don't understand it all. There was clothes that I like. One of the assignments was like, pull out some of your favorite pieces of clothing and take some pictures of it, send it over. You know that one shirt that you wore in this video? Go take pictures of that. There was a lot of, like, I'm not gonna lie, it was strange. And cause I go, I don't want my brand to be this. Like, I love this photo and I think it looks great behind me, but this is not my brand, you know? And it was this struggle, and Masha kept going, no, it's okay. No, I get it. It's a process. So I want you to know, as somebody who's considering Masha, you're in good hands. She may ask you to do some strange things, and your strange things may not be the same as my strange things, because your zone of genius, Masha, is you're super intuitive. So you kind of intuitively work with people and kind of know where you're going. But she does have a process, and just go with it. Because the outcome, as you can see, my brand board didn't look like this background, but this was a key piece for Masha.
Yeah, thank you. And I think this is really important. Again, it's kind of bringing it back, is your brand is everything. So normally when we think of branding, we think of the logo, we think of the marketing piece, but it's really everything that's around you, is how you show up. So all of those things matter, and how can we tie it all together in a way that makes coherent sense and is attractive to the person you're trying to attract. So in closing, for people who are considering doing this process, who are considering taking their business to the next level, and having, you've gone through the process, what were some things that came up that felt like kind of blocks before getting to the next level? Like, what were the buts that came up?
Yeah.
Before you?
Well, it was, first of all, like, am I ready to put the investment into branding? Like, is it time in my work? And I knew, and when I asked myself that question, the answer was yeah. Like, that's the next step. So if you're getting that answer back, like, yeah, it's the next step, then go ahead and pull the trigger. And then, serial entrepreneurism, solopreneurism, it's DIY, man. It's like, I can do it, like, but I can do it. And I knew that the weight of this idea, of this company, of this work that I do, was more valuable than a DIY job that I could do. Yeah, I could do it, but it was more important than that. Like, I don't know how to put it into the right words, but I knew that this deserved making sense to everyone. And that if I did it myself, I was going to have that disconnected, inconsistent, not cohesive look through it. And some people were going to see that. The people to whom visuals are important were going to see it, and they were going to shut it off and walk away before they ever knew what this work is, before they ever took the quiz, before they ever watched a video.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura. And I think that's a good thing for people to think about, because branding isn't important for everybody, and maybe you're in a point in your business that you really don't care about the consistency, and that's okay, because you are where you're at. And when you're ready to take your business to the next level, when you're ready to stop wearing all the hats and are ready to really truly focus on the work you are here to do and have that work get out there to the right people, that's when branding is important. That's when you have to make a choice and create a branding presence wherever, especially right now that people can't meet in person. It is also very important then, and we can talk about that at some other time, but right now your online presence is important, how you show up is important, and the materials you put out there. So once you're ready to do that, come talk to me, and I hope that I can provide as much success and assist you with getting to that next level with your business in a very easy and helpful way. So thank you
Yes.
so much for joining us, Laura. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, I hope that with branding or some things that you heard today, you can be successful and take your business to the next level. Thanks, everybody.